So, Morgan, we'll start with you. Your Baroness voice is obviously your most iconic character that you did. So, what was your kind of inspiration for how that character came together? And to the rookie ladies who just came on board to this, our franchises here, you had some shoes to fill with these legacy characters, right? And did you look back and do research on what was done before, or did you just kind of ignore it and do your own thing going forward?
Yeah. Start? Me? Okay. When I did the Baroness, when I auditioned, they were auditioning everybody for the primary people for the first show, for the season. And we were given a sketch, a black and white sketch of what our character would look like. We were given a couple pages of script, that was all. And we were given a breakdown, a little bit of a bio. I really have no idea why I ended up with some sort of bastard Transylvanian accent. There may have been something in the bio that gave me a clue. I don't know. And then I went out in the alley like we always do, because you don't want everybody else to hear your great idea. And rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. Then I go into the sound studio, right, and you got the director and hopefully maybe a producer or somebody behind the glass. And I really think that what sold them on me is I have a very powerful voice if I choose to use it. And I did Cobra. And if you've ever heard me yell Cobra on television, it's compressed. So it's not really, but if you would all like to yell Cobra at the end of the evening, we can do that. Never yell Cobra on the little microphone. Okay.
Yay.
All right, so when I got my sides, what's so funny, I had a little in, so I knew what I was auditioning for, but most of the time in voiceover, you don't know. You don't know what you're auditioning for. But one funny thing that they put on the top of these auditions was sounds like, and mine was sounds like Airazor. Which I thought was funny, because obviously it was an audition for Airazor and they were still having you find a voice match for that. So I looked her up. I wasn't as familiar with, or I'd seen a little bit of Beast Wars when I was young, but I wasn't very into it. So I looked her up and I watched all the clips I could find on YouTube. And I immediately tried practicing doing a voice match to her, because she has this phenomenal texture to her voice. And I got to the point where I could do pretty well at it, but then when it came to actually doing the audition, I knew that I could do the voice match pretty well, or I could do the acting part of it pretty well. And in my opinion, and I think a lot of us actors' opinion, we want to serve the story more than we want to serve the voice, because we have a lot of people that are like, oh, I can do voices, but which is great, but you have to be able to act with the voice. Yeah. And I for some reason with her, I couldn't keep I couldn't serve the story while trying to do the voice, so I just went at it as me, because I feel like I relate to Airazor. She's very loyal and very strong, and I always say that in Harry Potter, I would love to be a Gryffindor, but I secretly think I'm a Hufflepuff. So, and to me, Airazor would be a Hufflepuff because of her loyalty to her crew, and so I went at her as me, wow. And it worked out, I guess.
I ask you a question. I'm confused. You're trying to sound like someone, but you aren't the original.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, if we're going back to the audition process, the audition was code-named, the character names were changed, the description, I had no idea what it was. I think I honestly thought it was probably a video game, because it was very grounded and gritty, and I know there was like efforts included in the audition, which is usually how video games come, and I'm very comfortable with video games, it's what I do a lot of. But for me, kind of like Erin said, I instantly connected to the character. She's a soldier. I was a soldier. She's in war. I was in war. She does a lot of shouting and screaming. I'm very comfortable doing shouting and screaming. No, but what I really connected with was the grittiness of how they were presenting war in this iteration of Transformers. And I don't know if there's any other combat veterans out there, but man, war fucking sucks. It sucks. I'm gonna say you're tired all the time. You're obviously not trying not to die. But then when we finally found out what the show was, and I found out it was Alita 1, I think I was lucky in that there wasn't really a ref for me to go off of. So I never even once thought of going back to the original character to try and listen to that voice match. I honestly went to the comics because she has some really good stories in the comics. And, then just working in the session and working with our amazing voice director, Phil Bacchus here. Actually, the first thing he did is he's like, production really liked your character, but we honestly need to pull her back. Because you talk about having a powerful voice, like, can we pull that back a little bit? But no, it's me. She's me. Just a robot. She does have a little hip swagger. It was so funny though. I did actually, I had the hip swagger. I had a friend text me when the show came out and he's like, did you do motion capture for this too? And I was like, no, but they had camera refs on us. He's like, that's your face. And I don't know if anyone's seen the Alita 1 meme where she's rolling her eyes. He's like, you've literally given me that expression half a dozen times. And I was like, yeah, no.
That's so cool. What branch of the services did you?
I was in the Army. I was a combat photographer. I was in Iraq for a year. Good times. Good times.
Oh my God! Thank you so much for your service. It's amazing. I feel so blessed to be here. I thought I was just auditioning for a video game. I'm a mom. I was an actress my whole life. I did Broadway touring shows. I grew up. I got married. I had 2 kids. I never thought I'd be back here. And when I did come back after 20 years, my agent's dead. And so, that's not funny. It's my luck. Everybody's dead. So I had to pretty much self-represent, and I'm like, I used to be an assignment editor for the news for a while in upstate New York, ABC. So I'm constantly on Actors Access and everything. I'm trying to get stuff. And I do have a new agent that is alive, but they're dead to me. And they don't do anything for you. And my dad said, you have to do it yourself anyway. So I listened to him. He was a World War II vet, my dad. And so 52 cards in a deck, Jeannie, you got to learn to love the word no. You're going to see 13-to-1 odds. So you're going to keep turning the card. No, love it, because sooner or later you're going to pick an ace. So I went in there totally blind, had no idea, read the first time, went into a little room with a little guy on the and I'm not really a voiceover actress. I'm an actress, and I've done some voiceovers, but it was always controlling me, like, you do that. This guy just read into here, and a week later, they called me back, and I'm like, okay, this again. I wonder what's going on. And I could tell it was different, that she was more authoritative. So I just thought, that's kind of like how I feel I have to be with my life. And I am my own bottom, very much my own self. So I really liked her. And I'm a little crazy because I sit in a 19-piece jazz band with a bunch of male musicians who are relentless. So I kind of got this little thing going on that I feel like I identify with her. And I did not research or study, and the reason I didn't is because my dad said, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. And they picked me. They picked me for some reason. And when I had to wait 3 years. So after the agent dies, I'm thinking, 3 years. I signed it, can't talk about it. And then it's a trilogy. I tell everybody, get Netflix. I'm in this. I'm not in it. I'm not in it until the last part. So I waited and waited and waited. And when I saw Airazor, I said, oh my gosh, that's the first part I read for. And then I recognized it. I had no clue, clueless. So I believe in God, and I believe the Lord works in mysterious ways, and I'm just so So unbelievably grateful to be here and honored to be with the likes of some of these unbelievable stars that, I'm getting chills. And of course, I couldn't have done this without the guidance of Phil Bach. Thank God he was there for me. I needed a lifeguard. I could have drowned in there. And he reminded me of who I was in the audition and kept my feet to the fire. And I was out of there in 3 hours. I'm like, well, my God, that guy, he's business. So amazing, amazing experience, and I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you. All right, I'll go now.